Hey, this is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here, and you're listening to the EVERBLACK PODCAST.
Hey, human skull, this is Odorous from Guam.
Going to Battle Fear Factory.
This is George Court Thunder Fisher.
This is Gas from Double Drop.
This is Wade from Our Last Enemy.
Mike Nick from Suicidal Tendencies.
Hey, this is Wednesday 13.
This is
Rex from Kill Devil Hill.
This is
Gatsby from Sepultura. You're listening to EVERBLACK Podcast.
All right, before we go into this episode, we just need to give a shout out to our show supporters, the brutal occult clothing brand Electric Witch, who have amazing apparel from shirts to hoodies to hats to beanies and more. Check out their full range at electricwitch.com.au and put in the code EVERBLACK for 20% off your order. Don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the EVERBLACK podcast through Spotify, iTunes, YouTube and Facebook, and check out all our articles at everblackmedia.com. All right, on with the show.
Hello.
Hey, Eddie, how are you, man? You staying safe? You holding up all right, man?
Yeah, we're doing good. Everyone's healthy. Everyone got tested before we started this endeavor, and everyone tested negative. We're all hyped. We're all energetic. We're all well-fed and ready to crush some skulls.
I mean, it's definitely crazy times, and with no touring at the moment, bands like Suicide Silence are thinking outside the box and finding a way of making it work by doing a virtual world tour, which is awesome. I mean, who came up with that in your camp? That's amazing.
It was kind of a group effort. I know that Mark and I had been talking for a while about streaming, about bringing Suicide Silence to this new platform of internet community. The streaming world is a whole different world, you know. I follow a lot of streamers a lot of video game streamers and other musicians. You know, I know Matt Heafy is a big streamer. My buddy Joe from Different Autopsy. My buddy Tyler from Traders. I know those guys that they all stream, and you know, they do some vocal stuff and they do some, you know, video game stuff. But it's all very, you know, streaming is all very much at home. You know, it's an at home thing. It doesn't look super professional. It just looks like, hey, man, this is my life. You know, come in and check me out. We've been talking about this for a while. Like, hey, man, let's just set up some cameras in our practice spot. And ultimately, the band was pretty adverse to it. We're a live band. We don't really do this stuff on the internet. You know, we have social media, and we'll just leave it at that. But if you really think about it, Suicide Silence got its start from social media and being on the internet and really, really embracing this new culture and this new world. And I mean, it's part of us. I don't know what life is like without a computer. If we're not adapting, we're going to fall behind. And ultimately, this COVID situation kind of just accelerated everyone's, you know, agreement to the idea. You know, they're like, well, I guess we can't do anything else, so let's try this out. And immediately the wheels started turning. People were like fired up on the idea of doing something a little bit more professional than what your typical live streams. You know, we watched a bunch of other bands live streams, and while, you know, they look good, there's something about playing in a empty room that you can still tell that it's empty.
Yeah.
The energy is not the same, and we immediately started looking at different ways of doing it. And one of the things that we came up with, our old tour manager and one of his really close friends, who is a director for reality TV shows, he's a film director, and they came to us and they said, well, if you guys want to take your stream to the next level, we've got you guys. And we have the equipment, we have the place, and we have the brain to change the streaming up to make it look more like a video shoot or a TV show, even like a live TV show. And then the idea started flowing of, hey, let's not just do one big live stream for everybody. Let's make people feel like they're a part of the scene. So how do you do that? You know, you play to just Australia or just Austria, or you know, we're only going to go to Japan. You know, like if you're in Japan, you get to see the show, and that's it. Like nobody else gets to see it. And you know, it kind of brings that feeling to us in our mind. It kind of gives that feeling of like, hey, this is my scene, this is my crowd, these are the people that I go to shows with anyway, and now we can do this again. Like, it's something that we've all been missing. I miss my show buddies. You know, I miss my friends that I still go to shows with, that I have drinks with. Like, I don't get to see them, and hopefully this will encourage people to maybe reach out to their buddies and be like, hey, you want to do this together and begin to chat together? You know, ultimately, we don't know what's going to happen. So this is an experiment. But I really have confidence that that feeling is going to exist. And that's one of the biggest reasons we're geogating it and doing so many streams. And yeah, that's where we are with it.
Well, ours is July 15 at 2 p.m. That's the Australian date here. And $10, man. That's cheap as chips, as we would say here. And you got some bonuses, including merch access and stuff like that. It's a really smart way of evolving the way bands do things. I think it's really, really cool what you guys are doing. And especially, is it just in your jam? You're just doing it in the jam room. You're not doing different venues and stuff like that, are you?
No, we're not going to any venues, but we are not in a jam room. We're in a pretty massive sound stage. We built a lighting setup. We have full professional lights, full camera crew. We have 4 high-end cameras. They're movie quality cameras. I don't know anything about cameras or film, but I know that they're really high end. I mean, the thing looks like a video shoot from what I've seen so far. And yeah, we rented this massive room. It's an empty room. We built the whole sound stage. We built all the lights, and we're doing our best to create a different environment for the fans than they've seen before.
That sounds incredible.
Just that alone is cool, but we wanted to take it even further, and we incorporated Q&A. So we're going to be, after every show, we're going to play for about a half hour. We're doing different songs every day. We rehearse something like almost 30 songs, and we're going to pick 9 every day, and we're going to 9 or 10 every day, and then we're going to allow the fans to pick one of the songs. We're also going to be doing, like I said, the Q&A after the show. Our buddies at Liquid Death help sponsor that, and they're providing some good water for us to drink, and we're going to be sitting there having a chat with you guys. We want to ask people what they thought. You know, this is one of the first times we're doing something like this, and we're probably one of the first bands that are doing this ever. So we want to know what you think. We want to know how much fun you're having. We want to hear you speak your mind about what you feel about the band. You know, we know that a lot of our really crucial, really deep fans are going to be there, and we want to talk to them. We want to talk to you. And then we also, for the last month, have been really stepping outside of our box. We're musicians. We're not actors, but all of us love to laugh, and we love to make each other laugh. And we've been filming ourselves doing these like weird skits, like little cutaways and little sections that will be in between the songs. So instead of there being just this dull, like boring time in between the songs where, you know, we're tuning or, you know, I'm drinking a glass of water or, you know, things of that nature. Instead of there being that, that's going to get cut out, and we're just going to throw in one of these skits. Hopefully you think they're hilarious, because we think they're hilarious. And
awesome.
And yeah, that's something that I don't see anybody else doing stuff like this. And we're really excited to present that. And
what about afterwards? Will fans have the chance to maybe get a DVD, order a DVD or something of that performance?
No, these aren't. This is not going to be shown again.
Wow.
These are going to be exclusive, one-time things. In the future, we might release something to, you know, one of the shows to YouTube or something, but I can't see this being something that we try to extend further. I really want this to feel special. I want this to feel like a one-time thing, like a real show. When you go to a show, the best quality you're going to get is your phone camera filming me, which is like a third-party situation. You're never going to get that same experience again. And that's something we want to leave people with. Like a real show, you don't get to go back and watch it again. And this is what it's going to be.
And you're not going to have phones in your face. You're not going to in front of you, which is a good.
Well, I mean, awesome. If you pull out your phone in your living room, you're filming your TV. Better ways of capturing.
Don't do that, though.
We suspect that there's going to be people who pirate it. And, what we can do is prevent from our end and you know, basically never show it again, and also, you know, do our best to prevent people from putting it up, you know, to kind of ruin the mystique of it. But at the end of the day, it's going to end up on the internet, you know. But we really want to kind of harp on the fact that we want this to feel special. Like this is a special thing. We're taking a lot of time. We've prepped this for a long time. We've been bleeding this for a long time, and we're really proud of it. So we want you to feel proud of it too.
And are you going to be playing a bunch of tracks off Become the Hunter? Man, what a brutal album. Holy shit.
It's going to be a fair mix. but we are definitely doing this because we need to showcase that new record. We put the record out, and then all of a sudden, we were forced to sit at home, and we had to cancel over 70 shows this year. It's really tough, especially because we've been sitting for 3 years already writing this record and waiting to go out on tour. So it was something that we're definitely fired up to play these shows because it's something that we didn't get a chance to do. And honestly, this record needs to be put out there. People need to hear it. It's a fire record, and people need to fucking hear it.
I 100% back that. It's one of my favorite albums of the year so far. Man, it's so brutal.
Thank you very much.
Man, I love it. And you guys also released a bonus track from it, Overlord. Man, I love that track too. It's awesome.
Yeah. That record's that song is one of my favorites actually. We had a really tough situation at the end of the record because we had 14 really amazing songs and we only got to pick 12, and that's really tough. Like it's always hard to take songs off a record when they're so good. But we ultimately had to pull two. We're kind of sitting on them. We'll release them eventually, but yeah, as far as the record goes, it's those 12 tracks, and there's that is how it is. It's part of the industry, I guess.
And I also think it's got some of your best vocal performances on it too. Man, it's some of those vocal tracks you've gotten out of yourself. It just sounds like you put yourself through a hell of a lot physically. You put a lot into this album. You can hear it. It sounds like you were just wrecked by the end of it.
Honestly, I was more wrecked during the last record. Just because I've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
Screening for me is second nature. As much as I was, it is an exhausting process to put it down for 8-9 hours every day. But because it's such a natural backbone of my history, it really was almost easier for me to channel that anger and that pure hatred that is in my voice.
So good. I love it, man. And the videos as well for the tracks that you released were visually incredible too. Have you thought about expanding that further? Have you spoken about that with the boys?
When we were talking about the direction of the record, we immediately started talking about having a trilogy video. And we wanted it to feel like a movie, all of us are, you might laugh a little bit, but, I like pop culture. And Beyonce, she released her video that's like, 7, 8, 9 tracks, and it's a video for each song. It's one big movie that, you can sit and watch. It's an amazing piece of art, and we really wanted to kind of give the fans something like that. We've been obsessed with serial killers, especially for this record. So we wanted to kind of create the story of like how a serial killer can get created, because that's the theme of the record, It's watching something so traumatic happen to you that it warps your brain into thinking that violence and death and destruction is the way. And it's a crazy concept, but it really kind of relates to us because, when you get persecuted, when you get judged and looked at, and it kind of forces you into a corner, and the fans almost forced us to turn around and come at them again, and kill them again in a way, quote unquote, and that's what we're doing. We're showing people that we're still the same murderous band that we've always been.
100%. You mentioned pop culture. We're running out of time, but I did see that you got a Star Wars tattoo, new Star Wars tattoo a couple of months ago. Is that right? Because you mentioned pop culture.
I've had my leg done for about 4 years, 5 years. It's a work in progress. My tattoo artist is a really detailed guy. His name is Nathan Montesi out of Concord, California. Every time I go in and get tattooed, it's so much detail, and we talk, and we really submerge ourselves into the Star Wars nerdom, and we talk about the new movies and the old movies and the prequels. All that. We just go into it, and it is one of my favorite pieces on my body. Star Wars is a very important story to me. Like, the story of Luke Skywalker, as a boy, I related so much because as much as I had a really strong mother, I didn't really have a father around. And, Darth Vader being his father at the end of that trilogy, and the way everything spins around, and you never know who's who. I thought it was genius storytelling when I was a little kid. Obviously now as an adult, I go back and I enjoy I enjoy it and everything, but I do see that it's it's a kid's story, but at the end of the day, it's also a story that has been with me my whole life. And, I do a lot to, cater to my dreams and fulfill my artistic vision. And I have a lot of respect for people who also did that and were able to really succeed in it. So for me, Star Wars is an all-encompassing thing.
I've only got one Star Wars tattoo. I've got Boba Fett under my my left arm, so when I close my arm, he falls into the Sarlacc pit. Yeah, bit of a joke, but
hell yeah. Tell him that line isn't fucking genius.
Man, the best, man. Well, dude, man, it's been. I could talk about Star Wars for hours with you. Hopefully, next time when you're down in the country here, we can have a good chat about Mando and the child and how we'll probably end up growing up to look like.
As soon as all these lockdowns get lifted, man, we really want to come out there. We miss Australia more than you guys could ever even imagine. I'm a big fan of that area since I was going out there with my old band, All Shall Perish. I've got a lot of friends out there. I would consider a lot of those friends family. My boys in D's Nuts are out there. My really good friend Jonah, he introduced me to a lot of people in Adelaide, and I really feel like Australia is a second home to us. And a big shout out to all my people in Perth. I fucking love Perth.
Well, we'll keep the beers nice and cold for you once this is all over. Keen as fuck for this virtual show on July 15, that's for sure. Tickets are on sale now. Until this is all over, man, you and the boys stay safe and keep kicking ass, my man.
Thank you. Expect a fucking badass show. All right, thank you.